Okay, so let's set the scene here. This should have been a moment of triumph, right? The holy altar is rebuilt, the sanctuary is renewed. I mean, this is supposed to be a time for celebration after a huge victory. But instead of peace, this one act becomes the spark that's going to ignite a massive kingdom-wide fire.
So yeah, the surrounding nations, they don't see this as some nice moment of religious freedom. Oh no, they see it as a threat. And their reaction is, well, it's immediate and it's brutal. The account says it displeased them very much, which is a bit of an understatement, because it leads them to one single conclusion. We gotta slay and destroy the people. Just like that, peace is over before it even had a chance to start.
And this kicks off a coordinated campaign of terror. I mean, this isn't just one battle we're talking about. This is a widespread, all-out effort by all the neighboring peoples to literally eradicate the Israelites living among them. So, what does Judas Maccabeus do? He immediately goes on the offensive. He launches this series of just lightning-fast counterattacks against the most immediate threats. Boom, he hits Edomia. Bam, he deals with these ambushers from Bean. He even manages to take down a powerful force in Ammon. I mean, these are swift, decisive victories, for sure. But here's the thing. They're really just putting out fires. The real crisis? Well, that's about to erupt. And this is where the whole situation just escalates dramatically. All those little localized threats, they suddenly merge into a full-blown strategic nightmare. You've got the kingdom about to be squeezed from two directions at the exact same time, and the calls for help, they are desperate. Okay, so first a letter arrives from the east, from Gilead, and it is a desperate plea. The Israelites there have fled into a fortress, but now they're completely trapped. A huge army, led by that same guy Timotheus that Judas fought before, is getting ready to storm the walls and just wipe them out. The letter says, "Many of us are slain," and they are literally begging Judas to come and save them. And you think that's bad? The pressure just skyrockets. I mean, while they're still reading that first letter, messengers burst in from the north, from Galilee, their clothes are torn in mourning, and they bring word of another massive army gathering. This time it's a coalition from Ptolemais, Tyrus, and Sidon, all assembled for one single purpose, to consume them. It's a nightmare. All right, so to really get what happens next, we need to know who's who on the battlefield. You've got the Maccabee brothers, Judas, the strategic genius, and his very capable brothers, Simon and Jonathan. Then, left to guard the home front in Judea are two garrison captains, Joseph and Azarias. And on the other side, the enemy generals, Timotheus in the east, and another really tough commander, Gorgias, who's hanging around near Judea. So Judas is facing this classic pincer movement, and he makes an incredibly bold decision. I mean, most commanders would consolidate their forces, right? Defend the heartland. Not Judas. He splits them. He tells his brother Simon, take 3,000 men and race north to Galilee. Meanwhile, he and his other brother, Jonathan, will take the bigger force, 8,000 men, and march east to Gilead. This is a massive gamble. You're fighting a war on two fronts, and you're leaving a skeleton crew at home with one very strict order. All right, so first up, let's follow Simon's campaign. He's got the smaller force, he's got a long way to go, but his mission is absolutely critical. And you know what? Simon's campaign is just a masterclass in efficiency. The text says he fought many battles, and he just consistently defeated the enemy forces. He chases them right up to the gates of their own stronghold, Ptolemais, and get this, his 3,000 men take out about 3,000 of the enemy. But the real victory here, it's the rescue. He gathers up all the trapped Israelites, their families, all their stuff, and gets them ready for a mass evacuation. He gets them all back to Judea, safe and sound. The mission is a complete success. It's a military victory and a humanitarian triumph that brings, as the text says, great joy. So one front is now secure? Check. But now we got to turn to Judas and Jonathan. Yeah, they have the larger force, but they are facing a much, much larger enemy army and a ticking clock. Their campaign is going to be way more dangerous, way more grueling. So 3 days into the wilderness, Judas gets a critical piece of intel from a friendly tribe. And they tell him the attack on that fortress, it isn't just coming soon. It's happening tomorrow. Tomorrow. There is literally no time to waste. So what does Judas do? He immediately turns his army and force marches them through the wilderness overnight to a city near the fortress called Basora. And he arrives at the absolute perfect moment, just as the enemy is literally raising ladders to the wall. The surprise is total. Can you imagine? The enemy army hears trumpets. They turn around, and they see the unthinkable. Maccabeus' army is attacking them from the rear. The account says that the second they realized it was Maccabeus, they just fled in terror. Judas's army swoops in, and in what's called a great slaughter, they take down about 8,000 men. But again, winning the battle is only half the mission. Now Judas has to get this massive convoy of refugees all the way back to Judea. And of course, their path is blocked by a heavily fortified city called Ephron. Judas asks for peaceful passage, promises no harm. They refuse, so Judas is forced to do the unthinkable. His army assaults the city for an entire day and night, takes it, slays its defenders, and then marches his people home, right over the bodies of the slain. It's a brutal, brutal necessity to finish the rescue. And this is where the story becomes almost unbelievable. After that forced march, the surprise battle, and that brutal siege of Ephron, they finally make it back to Mount Zion. And the text makes a point of noting not a single one of Judas's soldiers or the people they rescued had been killed. 0 casualties on their side. Just wow. Okay, so let's recap. Simon is victorious in the north. Judah is victorious in the east. It is a stunning 2-front triumph. But while they were gone, the story on the home front, well, it took a very, very different turn. Yeah, remember Joseph and Azarias, the captains who are left in charge? Well, they heard all the news about the Maccabees' valiant acts and warlike deeds, and they got jealous. The text is super explicit about their motivation here. They literally said to each other, "Let us also get us a name." This had nothing to do with duty. This was all about glory. And in their pursuit of that name, they decided to just completely ignore the one crystal clear order Judas had given them. They were told to be a garrison, hold their position. Do not, I repeat, do not engage the enemy until the main army gets back. And this is the price of that disobedience. Joseph and Azarias march their garrison out to attack the city of Jamnia. The enemy general Gorgias comes out to meet them, and he just puts them to flight. They are completely routed, and 2,000 Israelite soldiers are killed that day. The source doesn't mince words at all about why this happened. It calls it a great overthrow and says it happened because they were not obedient. It even goes a step further, basically saying these guys just weren't cut from the same cloth as the Maccabees. They weren't the seed of those by whose hand deliverance was given unto Israel. It was a flat-out failure of character. So when you put these 3 campaigns side by side, you've got Simon's, you've got Judas's, and then you have the disaster led by Joseph and Azarias. This whole chapter really becomes this powerful case study. It's all about leadership, discipline, and the very anatomy of victory and defeat. And here's the bottom line. The contrast could not be more stark. The Maccabees, they were motivated by duty, by a need to rescue their people. Their actions were all about discipline and brilliant strategy. And the result? Miraculous, complete victories with 0 casualties. Now look at the garrison captains. Motivated by personal glory, their actions, disobedience and reckless ambition. The result? A great overthrow and the deaths of 2,000 of their own men. It really forces you to ask a pretty fundamental question that just echoes through this entire story. In the end, what truly determines the outcome of a conflict? Is it just about the number of soldiers you have or how strong your weapons are? Or is it something deeper? The strength of character, the discipline, and the real motivation of the people who lead. We'll leave you with that thought.